Hello, dear friends. Welcome to my studio in Montreal. Welcome to Monday and to our live streaming. I appreciate it what you find the time to join me. That's great. So today I have a few special explanation for you. I believe it will be interesting because I got that question for the last couple of months all the time. First about the brushes. What's the difference between the brushes what I'm using? That one, yellow flat, let's say, and the black brushes. So the trick is, and don't tell anyone, okay? Look, if you follow me, you know that the process how I create my paintings all the time. So I put some pigments on my paper and washing out, lift it. So that's the process. And to lift the pigments, to take it off from the paper, I have to clean my brush all the time, always. So I prepare my mix, I have a lot of paint on my brush, I put it on my paper, I have to clean my brush and take it off. So finally I lost a lot of pigments. They are in the water, which is very sad, especially if you use something like a good quality paint like a Daniel Smith, pretty expensive things. So that's why normally in my studio I use two brushes. One to apply the pigments, to put it on the paper. Second one to washing out, for lifting. So that's why it's a kind of different color. So I never make a misunderstanding. So one brush for put the pigments, second one for lift. And plus another one interesting secret, then I put the pigments, I'm touching my paper very soft, very delicate. Then I lift the pigments. I use a lot of power, like huge pressure. And I broke a couple of brushes right in the middle because of the pressure. So finally I asked the master to make the brush with the double line. So it's very strong. That's why it's a little bit shortly. So that's why in my studio again I have two that brushes on my table. And if I paint with a 3 lines brush, I use 4 lines brush for washing out. If I'm painting with a 5 lines brush, I use the 6 lines brushes for washing out, for lifting. Because for lift it's more useful to use the little bit bigger brush. The bigger brush take a little bit more pigments. So now you know the secret why I have 2 brushes in the different colors in the different sizes. Don't tell anyone, okay? So today we will do a breakfast, because for now in Montreal it's 9 o'clock at the morning, and normally on the breakfast I'm always have a coffee, right? And I prepare the coffee in Turkey. That's like Armenian style. I really like that kind of coffee, so that's why we make the still life with a breakfast. And I will show you the picture. Here is it. That small sweet stuff. I'm always order that when I'm going to Portugal. I love that. It's like a traditional Portugal. It's a Chinese, but also it's traditional Portuguese food. Great for the breakfast. Cup of coffee, flowers. So this is our reference for today. And as you can see, it's a pretty dark still life. Not easy for the watercolor, for the watercolor more easy to use the more lighter still life. So we need a lot of pigments. Plus look at the like a flowers here, kind of flowers, plants. You see the texture, and it's kind of unusual thing. So we have a few ways to make it. Way number one, we can take the pointy brush like 1 week and we're gonna finish that. Second way, we have to find a way how to translate it and transform it to the watercolor language. So for these plants, I will use the different pigments. It's still in my list. If you have that list with the colors what I'm using, or you can check it on my website, watercolor.com, you will find a few Primatek pigments here. Normally, it's not on my palette. Because the Primatek, it's a granulated pigments. I'm using it for the very special, very special effects, like today. So that's why it's not on the regular palette, because I don't want to pick up it like on the mistake and have a granulation in my regular mixes. But if I'm looking for that, it's the one of the best what you can find. So 2 colors we add to our palettes today: Bloodstone, and that's in my list, and the burnt tiger eye, that's in my list as well. By the way, I can show you something. This is the stone, that's real tiger eye, the colors made from that guy. Just today we're going to use burnt tiger eye. This is one, it's not burnt, yes, it's natural thing, and it's look cool, right? So this is our job for today. And as usual, you see I have a technical support. Anytime you can ask me any questions, just type it in our chat. I will hear it and I can answer, so that's how we can communicate, all right? And about the paper, I use my favorite Baohong paper, rough, or from this block. So this is the little bit more than 15 by 15 inches. And as you know, I'm preparing my paper. So I'm already wetted on the back side. That's why I make a very simple sketch by pencil on the front, just again to measure our space, nothing more. So I will wet it a few more times and we start to paint. And again, any questions, just ask me anytime, okay? So let's go. This is the back side of the paper. I wetted the last time and we start to paint. Yes, yeah, I got the question. Yes, exactly. So you see, if I'm painting with a 5 lines brush, I got the question, yeah. And I lift with a 6 lines brush normally because it's more easy to lift it. If I paint with a 3 lines brushes like that, I lift with this guy. So that's why all of them on my table always. Very useful. In that case, I don't miss and lost a lot of colors, compared to if I have to clean it all the time. Very useful thing. So this is the sketch. The front side is dry. I just press it. I have to be sure there is no air between my paper and my board. So technically, you know, we can start to paint right now, and because it's flat, stuck on the board, pretty comfortable. But you know, in time, then it's dry, the paper going to be curved like that, so that's why I'm gonna tape it before we start the process. I just take off the extra water. Hello Italy, welcome to join me today. So I use my tape just to fix it on the board. So today we have a couple of more surprises, and the first step, I mean the flowers, this part will make kind of wet on wet. It's not the regular things what I'm doing, but for this, for the Primatek to make the granulation, it's the best solution. But in the beginning, I will start from our vase. That will be more simple thing, and it should dry before we go into our our background. And I show you the references right here, so you can see that. It will be more easy to follow in what I'm doing. So we start from this guy, and except the Primatek pigments, I'm gonna use the Quinacridone Sienna, Cobalt Blue, Indigo, and Pure Violet. By the way, I have a question for you. Uh, which color you have to refill in your palette first? Because you know we have all the time a lot of pigments, but some of them can be on your palette for the long time. Some of them gone very fast. So my question is, which color going out faster first? On my palette, it's always, you see that right here, it's a Quinacridone Sienna. I'm just interested in what is yours. So that's just a very soft washing here, because to build the background I have to go into the darker color after that. That's the reason I start from this. And for all the people who now on the Instagram, you can go to the YouTube, because right now we're in the live streaming. Join me. And so we're starting to make our first special effect here. Yeah, I got the question exactly, because you know, then we wet the back side. Sometimes we have some drop of water on the front side as well. So I use the paper towel to make my paper here on the edges dry again, if we have that accident. So that again, just remind you the colors what we use. This is the Bloodstone. It's amazing Primatek color. And another one, Burn Tiger Eye. And Moonglow. You see, that's why I put it on this special palette, because I don't want to use it for my regular mixes. It's better to keep it separately. And remember, surprise is we're gonna make it wet on wet, but if you look at the reference, we have a few lines here. So for that, I'm gonna use the trick. I wet the paper here. Hello, Vienna. Hello, Riga. And you see, I take off some water here. So this is for my light lines. So if I take the water, I know that it's not going everywhere. All right. So this is the amazing Bloodstone. You know, the Primatek, you see what happens, it's just brilliant. You know, the Primatek colors, they're really great if you use it wet on wet. In that case, it works perfectly. Hello, Brazil. A little bit Moonglow. Hello, Texas. Hello, Potsdam. I'm gonna be there in May, so I'm looking forward for that. Yeah. Hello, Chile. So you see, we starting to make the shapes just by the negative space. Somewhere we're gonna make it a little bit more concentrated. To make the real granulation, we have to back to that and spray it just a little bit, but not now. That's truly amazing colors. A little bit more Moonglow, special here on top. It's perfect to the light. And a few more things, you know, the tonal value, it's not dark enough, special here. So to fix that, I'm going to my usual colors, what I have here on the palette. Indigo and a little bit Queen Sienna together. And this is just for the dark accents inside. And to start the working process for the granulation, as I say, we have to spray it. I just add a little bit tiger eye here, a little bit, but we have to spray it in the right moment. That's important thing. So now it's too early. Patience, we'll wait a little bit. So I have to leave it for now without touching. Later we back to that things. Remember, the watercolor needs a time. It's the medium which is existing time. So patience, we have to wait and give it water to make your own job. And yeah, for the people who now on the Facebook, you can join me to the YouTube channel. It's a live stream right now. So I'm going to that part and we will wait what happens here. Okay, so we have a beautiful sweetie stuff there, and for this I'm going to use just a little bit Quinacridone deep gold with a Queen Sienna together. So it's like a light part only. For sure, we're back to that later to make it much better. So ideas, we're always painting from the lights and shadow, and that's the lighter part. That's why I'm starting from this. We have almost 60 people for now. Thank you very much for joining me today. And if you don't mind, please give us a like, because that helps to other people to find that video. And you see the pigment slowly moving, and that's the time for the first time make some drops of water. Just a little bit. In a couple of minutes we back to that again. So for now the drops what I make, it's not visible, but that drops give the pigments more space to move, and that's finally create something like a granulation effect. That's nice, sweetie stuff. By the way, if you will be in Portugal, you have to try that. It's just amazing food. Special with the coffee. So I leave it just like that, and now we go into our background, and for the background I use a lot of Moonglow. By the way, you can see what happens with the Moonglow on my palette. You see, it was just a purple color, but for now we have a green, blue and red. That's amazing, because this color, again, it's spirit of watercolor. In time it's going to be look kind of different. So I will use a lot of Moonglow for my background, but plus I mix the Cobalt and Indigo and all the colors what I need. So let's go, big brush, and we start. Okay, so we starting to add the dark colors. See, it's wet on wet, that's why we have that soft and nice shape. Go into a little bit more color mixes here. So a lot of Moonglow, little bit Indigo, and little bit Tiger Eye to make it a little bit softly grayish. Bloodstone inside, and still a lot of Moonglow. You see, I leave a lot of white space here because the pigments need a space to move. That's important. Without that, it doesn't work. I pre-wet the paper here a little bit because it gives more time to my pigments to make the nice special effects. And you see, if that things happens, wait a little bit. Yeah, we can fix it right now, but it's beautiful, right? So leave it time. After that we make some correction. It will be easy, no worries. So, and yeah, I know normally we have to paint this because it's a little bit more lighter, and after that I put the dark shadows. But today I want to show you the little bit different and special way how to make it. So we switch to the big brush again. Yeah, I got the question. Yes, that video, there's a live streaming, but it's recorded and it will be available on the YouTube after that, so you can back to that. And you can try to repeat the same thing if you want, feel free. For the more darker touching, I just add Indigo in my mix. And remember, in the beginning I asked you which color gone from your palette first, and I use mostly the Quinacridone Sienna for all the mixes, so they're going to be empty very fast. I have to refill it like 3 times before, for instance, I refill the Quinacridone Deep Gold. So my question is, which colors you use mostly, and which color you have to fill in your palette first? Ultramarine and Cobalt. Okay, I got the few answers. Nice. You see, that's the way how we're gonna fix that. And plus, we make it the connection very soft. So I take the flat brush, this one, the black one, and lift the pigments. Back to our background. We're going to finish that first before we go into the other steps. So now I spray it again, another one time, everything, including the background. And somewhere I start to lift the pigments. So that's the time how we can back control to the lightness for our plants here. Hi Leslie, yeah, thank you for your message. Yes, exactly. On the next Sunday in 1 week, I'm going to United States for the workshop in Hudson Bay, and yeah, we will be 5 days in the studio, painting every day, non-stop. And that's I like that place. I have been here a few times before, and I'm really enjoy that. So if you have a chance, welcome to join me. You know, the problem when you paint in wet on wet, the biggest problem is yourself. You have to be patient, you have to wait. The result what you have right now is not the same like it will be in a couple of minutes, so you have to be patient, you have to wait and be ready to back to that anytime to make some correction, but don't force it. Don't force it. You know, the patience is a very important thing for the watercolor. So we go into our table. It's just a Cobalt mostly and Pure and Violet. That two guys always give you the nice purple color. a little bit light effect like this. It's a good point to bring the lights back. And I spray it again a little bit. So honestly, we have to leave it for now like that. We're gonna back to that part a little bit later, maybe in the 5-7 minutes, so we have a time to finish it all the things before we're going to make the last correction for our background. Again, the Primatek pigments, the water and paper need a time to build good relationship. That's very important point. So we bring some contrast here, and that's the point. You see, I'm start from the darkness, and later I will show you how to bring the light after the darkness. Okay, so I switch to the 4-lines brush here. It's clean brush. I just blend it by water. So idea is I use the pigments which is already here on my paper. I just pick up it by clean brush and water. So that's make kind of softness. A little bit more lift colors here as well, just to bring the shiny light in our breakfast. Bon appetit, by the way. You know, that's why it's very useful to use the second brush, because it's always clean. You never make the dirt, then you lift the pigments. So I make the last dark touch in shadows here on the ground before we go into our background to finish that. So technically it will be better if I will wait, I say 10 minutes more before to spray it another one time. But just because I want to save your time and make it a little bit faster, I'm going to use that killer, because that guy really can kill your painting very easily. But just a little bit. So idea is I don't want to make it dry completely. I just make it less shiny, let's say. Just a little bit. Great, and that's the time to spray it again. I'm not sure what on the web camera it's visible the granulation here, but believe me, it's look just fantastic. So a little bit spray. It's a pure water. I will try to make a zoom and you will see how it's look like. The granulation here, you see, that's just amazing thing. Yeah. So we have to finish it that part, and after this we just make some correction here. That's my traditional dark mix. That's the Quinacridone, Sienna and Indigo. And this time I add a little bit more Cobalt to make it colder. Again, just a pure water to blend it. This part's still wet, so I'm gonna connect it and we blend it natural way. Another one very nice color combination if you use just the Quinacridone, Sienna and the Pyrrol Violet. It's make for you the very rich color, which is very useful for our sweet stuff here. You know, it will be better if I took the breakfast before a live stream. I really want that, guys. And that's the same Pyrrole Violet with the Queen Sienna. And a little bit Indigo there for the darkness. And we're going to paint our cup of coffee here. I got the question about the difference between the burnt sienna and the quinacridone sienna. You know, the quinacridone means a technology which make the pigments very bright, very concentrated, and the most important, 100% transparent. The regular sienna, burnt sienna, raw sienna, no matter, that's not a transparent color. You know, it's just a clay from the ground. It's not transparent. So the quinacridone sienna, 100% transparent. That's why in the end I have a very nice mixes all the time. It never look like a dirt. If I start to use the regular sienna, yep, we're gonna make a dirt. That's the main difference. You know, that's why, by the way, on my palette I have two quinacridone pigments, deep gold, quinacridone deep gold, and quinacridone sienna. The yellow pigments is another one problem, you know. The mostly yellow pigments is just the cadmium, and the cadmium not transparent at all. So if we want to create the transparent mixes, which is for the watercolor, it's very important for it, we have to use the transparent pigments. And that's very, very important thing to create the lightness, air, and make our watercolor look really, really like a watercolor. Transparency. By the way, the Daniel Smith was the first company who brought the quinacridone technology in the watercolor world. Before it was just for the oil. So I'm really grateful for that. It's changed my palettes completely. So here for now it's mostly the dirty water. I just pick up the pigments which is already there. Yes, this is the quinacridone sienna from the Daniel Smith. That's true. You know, that company was the first who created quinacridone sienna, and for now it's one of the most popular pigments on the planet. I mean, paint. So I back to my background another one time to spray it before we're starting to finish it our plants here. That time, my paper still a little bit shiny, but it's dry enough to make the very nice special effects for the granulation and for moving the pigments and make the pigments separately. So that's the most important spraying for our watercolor. As usual, we have to wait a little bit. So for now I create some dark accents inside my shapes just to make it a little bit more 3D. And as usual, it's painting by the negative space. And another one time I'm gonna spray it by water. So that's why for the spraying I have another one water here, more clean, because that doesn't work anymore. Pretty dirt. Yeah, I got the question about the. It should be on the Sketching Academy project. It should be a workshop about the sketching in the three colors, and unfortunately I have to cancel that because I'm in that time I should go to Poland on the festival, so it's impossible to make it in the same moment. Answering your question, what kind of colors? No worries, I don't want to talk about the primary colors. It's so simple, but it's not really nice. But you know, that was the idea of the course. If I just give you the names of the colors without explanation why and what we can do with that, why that selection, so it doesn't help you. Maybe I will record a special video to answer that question, or we will do another one, a workshop in the other time, because it's truly interesting question, you know. But I couldn't just name it that. It doesn't work like this. I need to explain what's the reason, and more important, you have to see how it works practically. You know, this is a really practical job. But believe me, it's not about the primary colors, because the primary colors, yeah, technically with the primary color we can mix wherever you want, but in real, no. And plus it takes a lot of time to create the, for instance, the brown color from the primary colors. It's, you know, it's take like a couple of minutes, 5 minutes to make the very simple brown colors. So it's, you will be in trouble for sketching. That's why it's not a good idea. So that's why it have to be not just one solution. For sure we can use the a lot of different color schemes and selection for the painting in the limited numbers of colors, but it's very important to get the idea how to do that. I will find a way how we can talk about this, definitely. So the last thing before we go on to finish it, that the dark lines here, but the surprise is I'm gonna make it wet on wet as well, because I want to make that part really soft. And if I make it later on the dry paper, that lines will be so visible. So instead of that, I just take the very concentrated mix, almost without water, and we make some lines here. In a couple of minutes they're gonna be blended, less visible, but it still will be there. Yeah, about spraying, what I'm doing, that's the point. If your paper will dry, nothing happens. If your paper will be wet, nothing happens. You just add more water. So that if you want to make it soft like that, it's the last couple of minutes before your paper stops to be shiny. If you want to make the drops very visible like accents, your paper have to stop to be shiny but still wet. So the right moment, extremely important thing for the watercolor, you know that. I can show you how it works if you want. You know, that's simple things. We will do that now. So for instance, that's a very soft effect, like a sparkling light. Here it's less softness, but I mean more softness. We don't have a contrast here. What I can do, I'm starting to dry it a little bit and spray it in the last moment, and you will see the difference. Let's try. So here my paper almost stopped to be shiny. I take the clear water and you will see how the drops look like now. Not now in the 2 minutes for sure. Still need a time to move the pigments. So if here very soft dots, that dots very visible. So it's like a snow in the air. In a couple of minutes it will be even more visible. So because we start to move the pigments which is almost stable and connected to the fibers. So that's why it's that dots more visible compared to that one. That's really soft. So we have a Primatek colors everywhere. We have a Moonglow here everywhere, but because we spray it in the different time, we have a different effect here. So unfortunately, you don't have a chance to see how it will be look like then it will be done, because that should dry at least, like, I don't know, 15 minutes more, and it's not interesting to just watch how it's drying for sure, right? But believe me, then it will be done. I post it on my in the social media, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, so you can go there to see the final product what we create here. Just want to remind you, it's very important if you want to do something like that. It's very important. Patience, wait the right moment to make the right touchy, because the watercolor exists in time. It's a very important thing. And so thank you very much for your time. I wish you good luck with the practice with that. I hope you enjoy it. You know the colors what I use for this. You can play with the Primatek colors and the Moonglow. By the way, it's the difference, the granulation what we got from the Primatek and the effect what the Moonglow give you. That's the different things. You know, the Moonglow is a 3 pigments which are going to be separated in time, but there is no granulation. The granulation is a different things. You see the each part of the pigment clear, without water, without the soft gradient. So it's a very nice thing to mix it together. So again, thank you very much for your time, and bon appetit. So now I can go to took my breakfast and cup of coffee as well. And again, for the people who want to join me in the United States, in the 1 week we run the workshop there, so welcome. It's the New York State, just about 40 minutes from New York City, so you can go there if you have a chance, and it's truly a nice place. And see you in 1 week. I wish you to be healthy and creative. Thank you, and bye bye.